The concentration Nazi camps, known as Auschwitz-Birkenau, came into existence near the city of Oswiecim, Poland. If combined, they are the largest death camps in Europe, with a capacity of 150,000 inmates at one time. In 1940 these camps were established by Nazis and were used until the year 1945. The death camps were divided in three major parts. The estimated number of people, majority Jews, that were killed in these camps are between 2 to 4 million people. Several killing modes were used, like mass shooting, gas chambers, starvation, diseases, torture and forced labor. Thousands of people lost their lives under medical experiments as well. Auschwitz today has been associated with the words like genocide and the Holocaust, though Auschwitz has been partially destroyed by Nazis during 1945, but then was established as a museum. This step was taken to educate people in coming generations so that they experience and understand the miserable conditions people underwent during this unfortunate period in the history. Millions of people every year visit Auschwitz and Birkenau camps to learn about the cruelties committed in these camps. I happened to be there with my group from Geneva, Switzerland. The experience touched my mind and soul to the extent that I decided to share it with people around the world. Rudolf Höss was the first commander of Auschwitz and the person to identify the area in Poland as the best site to construct these death camps. In 1941, Himmler passed an order to enlarge Auschwitz to deport people from all over Europe to these camps. Birkenau, as the second Auschwitz, was constructed approximately 2 miles away from the main camp. During 1942-1944, approximately 50 sub-camps were built only for the reason to exploit slave prisoners and laborers. All the death camps were fenced with wires and no contact with the outside world was possible. In 1942 a camp came into existence for women in Auschwitz, which was later moved to Birkenau, section B1A. In late 1942 another sections were established for Czech Jews and Gypsies. Also the gas chambers and crematoria at the Birkenau was formed, which started in 1943. Before exterminating Jews, trials of Zyklon B, a poisonous gas, which was produced by a German company, Degesch, was used to kill Soviet POWs in the Auschwitz. It was considered the best way to kill many people at once. The site of Auschwitz was a perfect location, as it was situated on railroad lines and surrounded by coal, water and lime. This was the reason this site was selected for these death camps, as it was favorable to build a factory to manufacture war material for German industries. The selection process used to begin on the railway platform itself as soon as the prisoners used to arrive at the Auschwitz. Then SS Schutzstaffel, physicians used to examine each of these unfortunate prisoners. Those unfit for labor work were sent directly to the gas chambers. In this manner those who were sent directly to the gas chambers were not registered under these camps. Other prisoners were immediately tattooed with serial numbers and dressed. All body hair shaven off, were sent to shower cells, and their clothes were sent to disinfect. Then they were allowed to enter the camps. Due to the system followed in these camps, it is difficult to estimate the total number of victims in Auschwitz, as millions of people died and were sent directly to the gas chambers and were not registered under these camps. There are many tales about those incredible people who survived these death camps, all the torture and intolerable conditions. Their strong will to survive these situations prove the human level of tolerance and capacity to the world and the fellow human beings. Death camps like Auschwitz and Birkenau couldn't break their strong will, but helped them to survive every day, with the hope that one day freedom and peace will be achieved. Martin Gray, a Polish teenager, was one of the survivors, and his book For Those I Loved explained the true meaning of survival and courage to the whole world. He inspires us even today with his unimaginable tale in the killing fields. His strong faith kept him going. Mr. Gray survived these death camps courageously with an intact will. We all must learn a lesson from him. The tale of survival of the ghetto and his escape from Treblinka, the inner camp, are incredible. From this extraordinary tale of Martin Gray and many others who survived, we must learn that there is no compromise when it comes to human life, rights and dignity. We must always fight the evil. Gomedec, Towards Peace and Prosperity, book by Martin Gray, For Those I Loved. These concentration camps are a symbol of humanity's barbarity to the fellow human beings. The extermination of Jews was Nazis' ideology of pure racism. The evidence of their cruelty was found as the collection was retained at the site. The personal belongings brought a clear picture of the victims, their sufferings, and the systematic way they were murdered. This memory will remain like a dark chapter in the history and teach us the fact that extreme ideologies, ignorance and denial of humanity can result in a tragic end. Children in these camps were the most vulnerable victims. Approximately 1.5 million children were killed during this period. Adolescents were more likely to survive, so they could work as laborers in these concentration camps. Many teenagers were used for the medical experiments in the camps. Thousands of children lost their life due to starvation and diseases in the ghettos. April 1943 to March 1944, only 160,000 Jews were killed at the Birkenau. All camps were eliminated. In Birkenau, all the records and documents were destroyed of mass killings. During the period when Hungarian and Lodz were deported, Auschwitz and Birkenau became the most disastrous and shameful killing sites in the world. In November 1944, Himmler passed an order to stop all gassing chambers. The cleanup and destruction of all the traces of mass killing has started. In January 27, 1945, when Auschwitz got liberated by Soviet troops, many survivors were found in a miserable condition. Also, other items were retrieved, like thousands of pairs of shoes, toothbrushes, shoe polishes, glasses, clothes, men, women and children, suitcases with names and addresses written on it, utensils, tons of human hair, and hundreds of artificial limbs. With the time it was known that the human hair shaved off from the prisoners before killing them was used by a company called Alex Zink located in Bavaria for cloth confection purposes. The horror one experience to visit the site and to see the barracks for 52 horses but were used for 400 female prisoners in Auschwitz is unexplainable. In the Auschwitz and Birkenau, we find many documents, work of art and mementos, now from the time of Nazi concentration camps. Among the items are striped prisoner garments, insignia with camp numbers, letters, a part of the train that carried Jews from one camp to the other, and toys that a prisoner cut from pieces of rubber. The personal mementos of the families, there make it an emotional sight for people who visit Auschwitz and Birkenau. These items reveal the tragic history to us. Each item is connected with Auschwitz history and tragic times. Even today it is impossible to even understand how so humans could participate in the Holocaust. It is unfortunate how human hatred can lead to the biggest tragedy in the history. Millions of Jews as well as other people were killed blindly. Hatred and jealousy were the two main factors believed that caused this flame. We must never forget the Holocaust, so we never allow it to happen again. This war was not just killing masses, it was a process to torture and humiliate human beings. The victims were separated from their families, and loved ones were embarrassed and humiliated. Gold teeth were removed from dead to melt down in gold bars. This act is marked as one of the most inhuman and unforgettable acts in the history. It was absolutely against humanity. The saddest part that touches deep one's soul is to think about the emotions each person went through before arriving to these death camps and after. They were shown dreams of new work and life, but they were not aware that they will be facing their death in such a cruel way. This betrayal act is intolerable and unimaginable. The second heart-breaking truth was the separation from their loved ones. Unfortunately, even today, Holocaust continue in several nations around the world, whether we accept it or no, and has been experienced by many countries all these years. We must fight against such disasters and never let the history repeat in this cruel way.